Hello, welcome to the ECM podcast. I'm Caroline Fontaigne and I'm very happy to host this series that will take you behind the scenes of new music on ECM records. In this first episode, I'm meeting saxophonist, bandleader and composer Joe Lovano, whose reach extends across the history of modern jazz and beyond. For the interview, we sat in his garden in the Hudson Valley and talked about his new trio album called Garden of Expression, which was recorded together with producer Manfred Eicher in Lugano, Switzerland. Joe talks about the evolution of Trio Tapestry, with Marilyn, Crispell on piano and Carmen Castaldi on drums, as an unforced and natural process. He talks about how he sees the momentum of the music on his new album, about how creating music within the music is an artistic goal for him, and about how the seeds of change on the group's debut have taken root in Garden of Expression. The new music has beautiful sound. There is some kind of melancholy and a sense of peace with itself in titles such as Chapel Song or Zen-like. It's quite a powerful musical narrative, and I wanted to know what was Joe's position about this.
Well, I'd want to just say that the evolution of the music with the trio in such a beautiful, peaceful delivery is a natural flow, trying not to be aggressive and letting the music unfold, you know. All of my compositions I wrote for this session, and also for the first recording, Trio Tapestry. All of the music were songs of expression, pieces of music that didn't have the rhythm dictate the flow. The momentum is in the melody and in the harmonic sequence, and the rhythm evolves within each piece in a very free-flowing manner. Music is driven by the rhythm, you know, in the drummer or in the bass part, you know. Now we're playing piano, saxophone, and drums with no bass. So we're creating a tapestry of melodic, harmonic rhythm. You know, that's the base concept of this band, you know, and of the tunes that I'm writing for this group. So we're playing in a jazz-free way, but we're not attacking the music. We're letting the melodies kind of unfold. So from night after night, when we're on tour, and we're actually playing as a congregation on the stage with the audience, you know, it's like a forum, you know, with this energy that we feed off each other. And to play in this peaceful manner is very special and very different, you know. My history playing with Paul Motion and Bill Frisell, Bill and I started to play with Paul in 1981. And we played with Paul until his passing in 2011. So for 30 years, Bill and I toured every year with Paul, sometimes 3 times a year. And we developed a way of playing and communicating in such a peaceful but yet serious intention, you know, a lot of intention behind each composition that change from night after night. Different order, sequence of tunes from concert to concert created this really a beautiful approach and conception for me, and I speak for Bill too, man. All of the stuff that we've done on our own since the early 80s playing with Paul, realizing the courage, and Paul gave us permission to create music within the music, and not just play this tune and we're going to repeat that, and that's, oh yeah, that was the way it should be, the way we just played it. No. It was always about, let's evolve within each piece. So for me, that study and foundation in my playing and my music has evolved to this point with Trio Tapestry, with Marilyn Crispell, who's one of the most creative, beautiful pianists on the scene, and has been for years. And one of my closest colleagues and friends, Carmen Castaldi, we grew up together in Cleveland. We went to Berklee College of Music together in the early 70s, you know. We heard Keith Jarrett's quartet at the Jazz Workshop together with Paul Motion and Charlie Hayden and Dewey Redman and Keith, you know, in like 1972 or what. You know, being in the room with that quartet also opened up a lot of doors and confidence about creating music, you know. So I just feel so blessed to have developed on the scene in New York, because I moved to New York in the mid-70s. Mm-hmm. And I've had collaborations with all kinds of amazing musicians through the years and opportunities to document some music. From 81, playing with Paul, working with Manfred Eicher at ECM. Our first record, Psalm, with Paul Motion Band. Right? It had Ed Schuler on bass, and Bill Frisell, and Billy Drews on woodwinds also, and myself. From that moment, I've had a beautiful relationship with Manfred, and through the years, some important sessions for me have been on ECM records. So it's just so beautiful now with my contract ending with Blue Note to be with ECM, you know. So it's just been really wonderful to work with Manfred and have his embrace. And he hears where I'm coming from and where I've been. And he's been really fantastic to work with.
And he knows you, yeah. This particular second album for Trio Tapestry, he said that it was particularly spiritual. What's your feeling about it?
Well, you know, I think like he's feeling the feelings that we are creating as a trio. And the songs that I wrote for this session, Chapel Song, Garden of Expression, the title track, you know, Treasured Moments, Sacred Chant, West of the Moon. There's in the titles, it projects something, you know, beyond just like the title of the song. You know what I mean? The titles were part of the whole process of writing the composition.
Do you remember in what state of mind you were when you wrote this music? Was it different from the first Trio Tapestry music when you wrote it, or was it the continuity of it, or?
First recording was Seeds of Change. That piece, like when I wrote it and put it together and we first played it, was really magical, and it had many things within it. Like it had an approach about playing together, as well as the song form and the sequence of harmonies. But it was a blues, it was a ballad, you know, it had a feeling that was flowing throughout. That my piece, Garden of Expression, is what those Seeds of Change was about. The tunes on Garden of Expression all were written between the release of Trio Tapestry and our recording session, which was in November in Lugano on a tour. We were on our second tour of the year last year. And all of these tunes were written during that period.
On the road?
I wrote a lot of them on the road while we were touring and being inspired by the music we were creating, right? Last summer, I toured with Diana Krall, okay, for like 6 weeks or something. Last summer, I wrote a bunch of tunes during the tour with Diana, knowing that I was going to be doing this next recording. And the one tune, West of the Moon, I wrote one night after the gig. We had been playing East of the Sun every night. Beautiful. The way she sang it and gave me room to play, accompany her, and then be the frontline player as well. Working with Diana Krall we had a lot of fun.
I'm sure.
It was really a swinging affair, but we're playing East of the Sun every night. And there was one night I went back to the room and I wrote down West of the Moon, and that tune just came out. The title came first, and it was inspired by playing with her, and it doesn't sound anything like East of the Sun, but it was that feeling, you know. It's all about that spiritual feeling.
I love that. Yeah.
That comes through, you know, from the depths of who you are.
Yeah.
So a lot of the compositions, like Sacred Chant also was chapel song, and Sacred Chant kind of came together. That was also during the summer tour. I think we were in Vienna, and I went to a little small chapel, and I heard some music, and there was a faint organ playing, and I just heard some things, and I left there, and it was with me. So when we went to the Lugano, we played a concert at the radio, right? The night before we recorded there. So we had played in that room, and it was a beautiful space. And I had been there before through the years with John Schofield and also with Paul Motion. We played there with the trio with Paul and Bill. Beautiful room to play in, a little like a recital hall. The next day we set up on that stage, not addressing the actual seating area. We set up on stage as a trio in like this kind of a circle, and just the tone in the room and the sound and the feeling of that space. We created some music that day, and most of this recording is from that first day. And because we had played the night before for a big audience, addressing the room, we had a feeling for the room. You know, you might have a rehearsal in the same space before you do a recording. Let's say you're in a studio, you might rehearse, then you record the next day or whatever. But this was, we had a performance in there where we really played. So when we went to record, we were comfortable and very familiar with this space. Yeah, if we played at really a forte, we felt it. If we played at pianissimo volumes, you felt it vibrating in the room. And that created a real spiritual delivery on each composition. You know, and also we didn't just play them straight like 1, 2, 3, 4. We played and let it sit, you know, let it settle. Feeling the feelings of each other. And we went from tune to tune, and each piece evolved in a very beautiful, peaceful way. You know, we weren't trying to prove anything.
No, yeah.
We were approaching it as let the music unfold. And it was all there within the melodic, harmonic rhythmic tapestry.
And exactly, that's what I was gonna say. It's just like goes so well with this whole idea of tapestry. For you, the thought of a tapestry just reflects the best, like this energy and this dynamic between you three.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And
how did it come to you, this band name?
well, like I was saying, leading into the first recording, it was about creating this approach about how to play together. The first concert that we played together as a trio, we didn't play any themes or any songs. We just improvised, right? And we played a concert up here near where I live in the Hudson Valley, New York, the Atlas Theater. Anyway, Carmen came up from Cleveland, and we just met and played. And I brought a bunch of different horns. Okay, I played tenor, mezzo-soprano, taragato, alto, bass clarinet. I had about 5 horns that day. The way the music unfolded, every time I changed horns, it was like a new movement, a new episode of the sequence of things that happened on the gig. And man, it was just unfolded in such a special, beautiful way. That was the tape I sent Manfred to hear my new trio and the idea. But we didn't play any themes or anything. We played a couple of Paul Motion's tunes at the end of the concert for the encores, because Marilyn had played with Paul a lot and recorded for Manfred with Paul. And one of the really first times I played with Marilyn was when I sat in with her trio with Paul and Mark Elias at the Village Vanguard. I sat in one night, and then we played some gigs together as a quartet. The recording I sent Manfred just to hear what I was doing.
There's no reason to doubt or to question anything that is coming organically within the three of you, right?
Well, this is what jazz music is about for me. Okay, it's about creating music within the music. It's about the communication of ideas, And when you just play and improvise together and create music, feeling each other's feeling, it can evolve into a composition. So at the beginning of the trio, that's what we were doing. Then once we went to the second gig, then I started to write some ideas from improvising like that together. At first, they weren't just complete tunes. They were ideas and episodes. And that led to the first session. And now between the two, we have an amazing repertoire now. For me, these 2 recordings are the only recordings that I'm on, let alone as a leader, that have silent moments within them. Complete silent moments between the trio, between us. Now, there's silent moments for me where I'm not playing. There's silent moments for Carmen on drums where he doesn't play. There's silent moments for Marilyn within the music, but then there's actual silent moments where none of us play. And you feel this beautiful space. Silence is golden. And to break that silence, you want to say something. And it's a mystery where that's coming from, and it's surprising. That was some real magic when that happened.
there's also something about the lyricism of a bassless trio. I mean, it's a format that you know well, and I feel like there's something very airy, very light about this that just brings so much hope, space for the possible in some way. Like, is it how you want to start this 2021 year?
Well, it's the way I'm living right now, and it's a concept, I think, that I've been trying to develop, and without having the bass there, it puts me in that spot in the trio as the tenor saxophone, to not only be the front line soloist and preacher, but it puts me within the trio to accompany, to support Marilyn and what Carmen's playing, and also with my gongs and having colors and rhythms and tonalities, right, to follow the sound, that's happening. That's created those silent moments also. With no bass driving the momentum of a piece of music, it leaves that openness, and then you have to really fill those spaces and make them happen and have them be realized, within what you're playing.
Is it some kind of new pressure on you as a sax player, as a leader?
Well, you know what? It could be pressure. I don't feel it as pressure. I feel it as an opportunity to explore and in a different way, not try to fill in that space, but to let that space be real and realized, and then see what can happen in it, I think that was the magic in the trio with Paul and Bill, was that from night after night, tune after tune, we explored new ways of playing on the same piece of music. Playing night after night with that trio was so magical. I wrote a lot of compositions along the way, playing with Paul and Bill on the road also, being
very
inspired.
Inspiring time,
to be inspired by the performance of the evening and going back to the hotel and feeling those things and just writing out ideas and then working them out along the way.
What are you currently listening to?
Well, you know what? I've been listening this whole year. Reflecting on Charlie Parker would have been 100. Listen, a lot of bird this year, as we're hearing some birds in the trees. Listen, a lot of Charlie Parker this year. His music, his way of playing, his expression, his ideas, his like flowing, free-flowing music, that's been inspiring. When you listen to inspired music, it's inspiring. He was inspired to play like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Joe Lovano from his garden in the Hudson Valley about his new ECM record, Garden of Expression. Thank you for joining, choosing, and listening to our ECM podcast. I'm Caroline Fontagneux, and I look forward to sharing more music with you in the next episode.